So our question today is, how do we heal wounds from childhood, and what is A Course in Miracles' perspective on childhood? Well, from A Course in Miracles' perspective, childhood is no different to what we conceive of as adulthood. That's just simply a question of time. And so because the Course speaks to us on two different levels, one which seems to be a person in a world on a linear timeline, growing, seems to be born and grows up and then seems to die. And then on another level, it's simply speaking to the mind. And that is beyond the world and the universe and everything you can conceive of in form. So to answer your question, let's simply start with the most essential element of it. And that is what the Course talks about when it says, do not project the error to time. Now, you're not bad or wrong when that occurs. That's simply what's occurring all the time. However, it is very helpful for not getting stuck with what seems to be a past occurrence or grievance or distress or a case of victimhood or victimizer, whichever role we seem to have played. Because when bodies seem to be small and things seem to happen to little people, it seems very distressing. And it's very hard within our world and our time frame to seem to process that. It seems inherently wrong and bad and judged. But there's a second element to any time there's judgment in place, and that's the shame that something has happened to someone. So you're not even, for want of a better word, safe in the victim role. There's still an experience of suffering. Having been done wrong does not make anything feel better. And so what we want is a way in which we can release the experience of trauma in the present moment and come back to a state of awareness which is beyond the timeline completely. So with do not project the error to time, we want to first simply address, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? Because you're not responsible for the error. You are simply responsible for accepting the correction. I'm going to say that again. You are simply responsible for accepting the correction. And that acceptance just means that you sink back in a state of relief and acknowledge that you're seeing the entire setup in a mistaken way. You're simply mistaken. Now, what I love about A Course in Miracles is that this allows healing for all. We don't get one party being innocent and one party being guilty, because this is a non-dual course, which means not two. And so here we are with, hurts, traumas, seeming disappointments, lack of love, lack of opportunity, whatever may be seemingly stemming from a past incident or perhaps your even perception of your entire life. And there's a hurt and a grievance there, and it is stuck. And first and foremost, you must be kind and acknowledge how you are feeling. Nothing can change or move if you don't acknowledge how you are first feeling right now. But the relief that comes with innocence is that it becomes an experience of seeing how everyone in a story is innocent. That's the real relief of it. There is no relief if someone ends up being guilty. Trust me. It's been a lifelong process of experiencing how oftentimes a grievance sticks for years and years because this feeling of, I understand I'm a course student, I must be mistaken and wrong about this somehow because it makes me like a victim and I don't like that feeling. But I don't want them to be right. I don't want them to be right. There's such a feeling of being hard done by and this sense of inherent wrongness, and that this was unjustified treatment, unfairly treated. So I've discovered in my own experience that in accepting that I'm mistaken, it doesn't mean someone else was right. There is no other person who's right. All I am interested in is restoring myself to right-mindedness now. I want to take the correction now. I want peace now. And there's no cost to letting a grievance go. There's just no cost to it. It benefits the entire universe, and it's somehow, this is what's so miraculous, felt immediately by all. And today I want to invite all of us to do that in this moment, to look at anything where there's something stuck in your heart and your mind right now, where the reason it's stuck is because this feeling of like, I don't want to let them get away with it. I don't want them to think that's okay. It's all right that they treated me this way. Yet that's the very thing that's making it locked down and so tight that you can't relax your mind and open up to the help that you need to look at the shame that this occurred at all. Because at some level you're bothered. So if we even have the perception that there's a trauma, and worse still that it seems to be in the past, which in our modern times tells you, too late, over and done with, you're going to be scarred for life, you can't fix it now. And I'm saying don't fix it, just look. Look, be willing to face the shame and all the mixed emotions that come up. And a lot of people who have suffered abuse as children really find that there's this very mixed experience, because often what is labeled abuse, the interactions happened at an age when they didn't know any different. They didn't know about shame even. They didn't even know that this is a way of relating that is, kept for adults alone or something. They didn't know there was something inappropriate. And so they're left with this double feeling of weirdness, because now everybody's like, that's so terrible. And they didn't even understand it that way. And they're thinking, how did I not stop that? How did I not prevent this? How did I not stand up for myself? And all of these mixed emotions can be allowed to come up now and gently questioned and looked at in the light of the generosity of the Holy Spirit, which says, we are interested in just allowing you to bring all of these emotions out now. You do this for everyone. You do this first and foremost for yourself. And within this looking, there's no victimizer or victim. Within this scenario, there's a mistake. And we want to look with forgiveness upon this mistake. There is no judgment here. That's the absolute miracle of A Course in Miracles. It lives up to its name, that you can relax back and safely look. Take your brother's hand and safely look at whatever it is that's bothering you. And in my experience, shame just really compresses for people that which they would ordinarily allow up because of these mixed emotions about them. And that's one of my favorite things about Levels of Mind too. You're going to find that you have all these mixed beliefs and mixed desires about things that seem to have happened, and things how you would have liked them to happen, and things how you want them to be in the future. And when you put everything down on paper, it's very easy to see, wow, there's just, even in one moment of my day, there's so many conflicting desires here. How could I possibly be at peace? I don't even need to be having an interaction with anyone else. I'm at odds with myself. On one hand, I desire one thing, and the other hand, I'm like, well, I don't want that to happen. I don't want to let them away with it. I don't want to forgive them. Here's the thing, forgiveness in A Course in Miracles, you're not forgiving another. You're merely being mistaken about everything you're seeing. And A Course in Miracles wants to restore you to a sense of awareness and the truth of who you are. So it's really coming back to this true identity. And yet we want this to happen for you in a very real, experiential way. No more masking and saying, I should be over this, or I should forgive, or no, authenticity is where it's at. And just like in any 12-step program, perhaps there are times where we need to make amends, it seems, by going and visiting and reconnecting with someone. But very often with A Course in Miracles, it's simply looking again with the Holy Spirit at it. So, in answer to your question, you are a holy child of God, eternally loved, in whom your Father is well pleased. And it's not even possible for you to have done anything wrong or right. And that's the answer. Come back to this state of innocence where this is not something that unfolded and happened to you. This is a memory and a thought in a present moment, which you can either go deeply into or hand to the Spirit and allow the Spirit to take that thought or memory and bring you back to a present awareness of truth and eternal love.